Hello, everyone. My name is Symphony, and in the next few minutes, my team members, Uriel, Alberto, Nancy, and I will be discussing an invention that we believe can have a very large impact, the idle reminder. I would like to properly start this presentation by saying that buses are great. And clearly, based off of their operation during COVID 19, they are essential, but not only to us, they can serve the planet as well. If I could, I would shout out every bus driver working hard during this time. However, there is a problem amongst buses that is yet to be discussed: bus idling. When buses run for an unnecessary reason for an excessive amount of time, it is described as idling. Of course, buses don't do this themselves. It is the driver who controls the pattern of bus idling. According to a fellow San Diegan MTS operator, the drivers allow buses like the one shown on the screen to excess idle every day. This occurs when in traffic, going for a bathroom break, loading a bike or passengers into the bus, which also includes using the heater in the morning.
This excess idling leads to an unnecessary amount of gas emissions. While the amount of gas used while driving is nearly inevitable, the amount of gas used when the bus is immobile is not. For every gallon of gas used by a bus, 8,887 grams of carbon dioxide is released into the air. As a matter of fact, researchers have estimated that idling wastes about 6 billion gallons of fuel annually. With the rising of industrialized world, climate change and global warming have become a problem that gets bigger and bigger every set of years that go by. Because gas emissions warm the earth, many homes of animals are destroyed forever. For example, ice in the Arctic, which homes all Arctic animals, melts. On the flip side of the earth, fires in the forest damage trees, which as a result damage the homes of animals living in them.
Because of the strong relationship between climate change and the transportation, we have constructed a device called the Idle Reminder. The purpose of this project is to reduce gas emissions and therefore relieve San Diego's carbon footprint. Like your alarm clock, which reminds you to get up every day, the Idle Reminder functions as a reminder to the bus drivers to be cautious of gas. When a sensor realizes that the bus engine has been running for over 1 minute, the idle reminder will blink its lights to the bus drivers as if to say, hey, make sure you are using gas efficiently. For instance, imagine it's the busiest day in San Diego, Comic-Con. A long line of passengers get on the bus. The bus driver knows it will be a while until it begins to drive again, but forgets to turn off the bus. After 1 full minute of idling, the idle reminder will go off, reminding the driver to turn off the bus in the meantime, which they do. Keep in mind that depending on the situation, buses will relieve their impact as most suitable for the time. Sometimes buses may put the vehicle in neutral rather than stopping it altogether. As a result of running the bus less, gas emissions will be reduced. If San Diego were to issue this device in each of their buses, we would be the first city to do anything such as this.
Not only is the idle reminder extremely innovative, but it is a realistic goal to implement them everywhere too. As shown on the photo displayed on the screen, the idle reminder is a small, safe, smart device. Currently, MTS is considering electric buses. Unfortunately, these buses will cost more than the city can pay for and will take up too much space. Because the idle reminder is only a LED with a timer, it is affordable and will likely never be a problem to replace or fix. So how do we know that the idle reminder is effective? We know that the idle reminder is effective when we compare it to seatbelt reminder systems or SBRs. Familiar names such as the Volvo, Chrysler, Chevrolet, and many more have recently implemented SBRs in new editions of their cars in order to censor the seatbelt usage of passengers. If the car detects that the seatbelt is not being used, it beeps until a seatbelt is used. According to the American Psychological Association, these reminders save thousands of lives per year. We can parallel this seatbelt system with our device because both systems are reminders. The idle reminder is capable of having the same impact.
Overall, the idle reminder can and will make a bigger difference in our San Diego community if we were to use it. Despite its level of simplicity, it has a lot of potential to evolve into a more serious and complex device. A device that will not only benefit San Diego, but the world as well. There's no telling how widespread the idle reminder can be used and how much it can reduce gas emissions if every city bus system in America, let alone California, were to use it. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions?
All right, sweet. Thank you, guys. So also keep in mind you can have, there's questions being posted in the chat as well. And it looks like it says the first question / comment says, love it. How did your team determine that 1 minute of idling was the optimal amount of time before alerting the driver?
Well, we believe, based off of the facts, after 3 minutes of idling and research, buses use more gas than they would if they were to completely stop. So we determined that just before it reaches that 3 minute mark, that 1 minute was a good space of time for the buses to cut off and not use more gas than it would if it were to just stop.
Next question says, were you able to prototype and test your idea? Would you or would you approach your testing?
So unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we were not able to prototype the actual idea, which is why in the presentation, we talked about the seatbelt reminder systems because we thought that it was a fair comparison because they both serve as reminders. So because that is incredibly effective, we thought that this could be effective too. It's also bus idling is also a widespread problem. So, and there hasn't been any solution. So we thought that this would be a good solution.
I have a question for you guys. So I know that, kind of quarantine, definitely impacted the development of all of our projects. But I was wondering if you guys were able to kind of speak to any end users or experts, like maybe within the busing field or any of that.
Well, my mom actually has a connection to an engineer. So he told me that connecting the device to a sensor was a possibility and that it was pretty easy. So yeah, that was someone that I reached out to.
Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. All right, so if I do not have any questions, and I'll give maybe a second for you guys to see. I forgot to mention that I do have a form for everybody who did not present. It's a feedback form. So pretty much everyone's going to get to take turns doing it. If you're presenting, then you will not be filling out the feedback form. But for everyone in the audience, Hugo, we get to go ahead and fill out this form. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat for you guys to access, and I'll give about 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you guys. Very good job.